The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development. With a magazine and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives, at The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co. Hey, welcome everyone. We're back. Loving technology. Yes, absolutely. It's just been great. We're having lots of fun here at the Best You EXPO, lots of entertainment and lots of very interesting, inspiring people. So my next guest is David Fagan. Now, he joined me in a previous interview, but I'm going to do another quick introduction. And David is a guy that, he's the real deal. He's got massive expertise. He's extremely congruent, which for me means a lot in the industry because there's a lot of incongruent people. I know you've heard this before, but I have said to and recommended to a lot of people that they should read their own books. All those coaches that talk about happiness, they're quite miserable. And there's a lot of people that talk about success and they've never made it. So David is the real deal. And it's a big thing. And I'm very excited to have him here. So David, how are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. Real good. I'm smiling over here. Your comments, reading their own books. Yeah, there is a little bit of fake it till they make it out there. And
well, exactly. You must have read a lot of books and said, oh my God, where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, you know what? And the most humble and inspiring people like Les Brown, who's a part of this, he says things like, hey, I've gotten to certain points in my life where I had to go back and read my own books. And so, there are people that do that. And so that's not
there's nothing wrong with that. It's never too late.
Nothing wrong with that. Not at all.
So David Fagan is the former CEO of the Guerrilla Marketing, which sold over 23 million books in 62 languages all over the world, as well as the former owner of LCO Communications, a Beverly Hills PR firm that has represented 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy winners, and 43 New York Times bestsellers. Yeah. So David, thank you so much for being here. We're delighted to have you at the Expo, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the intro. And one of the things that gets brought up a lot is, like CEO of Guerrilla Marketing and, 20 some odd million books being sold and, LCO, it's a big time PR firm that I owned for a period of time. And, but here's what you really should take out of that. I've sought out some great mentors, Jay Conrad Levinson, the father of Guerrilla Marketing. That was one of my greatest mentors, a dear friend. He passed away, 6-7 years ago now. But, an amazing, amazing man. And so, I can say something like between me and him, we've sold 23 million books and how many did he actually sell that 23 million? Probably 22 million. And, you get the idea there. And even LCO, a PR company, been around for about 30 years. That was launched and ran by Michael Levine. So a lot of those accomplishments are, their accomplishments. And my accomplishment is to have been worked with them, to own, to run, to lead in certain cases. But what I did is I kind of bought myself a seat at the table in times. What I did is I went out and found, the best mentors I possibly could. And, I paid in time and money and sweat and results and sales and ideas to be in their presence, so to speak. And I've had some other great mentors as well. So, it seems only fitting that at this Best You, Expo, how are you becoming the best version of yourself? What are you doing to become more influential, more credible, and get more exposure? That's my ICE acronym. And it's been changing a lot of lives and making people a lot of money. It's a part of my book, Cracking the Icon Code. It's probably in almost every book I've ever written. But I ask you to ask yourself those three questions. Would I make more money if I was more influential? Would I make more money if I had more credibility? Would I make more money if I got more exposure? If you answered yes to any one of those things, then you're in the right place, because those are the types of things that I talk about. Authority marketing, how to be an icon in your industry, how to be a celebrity expert, an expert with a celebrity brand, right? A business owner with authority status. Okay. So think about that. How do you stand out? How do you separate yourself? because people are asking this question every time they meet you. Every time they're kind of getting to know you, that first impression, they're either literally asking this 2-word question out loud, or they're at least thinking it. And that question is simply this: why you? Why you, right? Why should they hire you? Why should they invest in you? Why should they spend money on your service? Why should they spend money on your product? Why should they read your book instead of another book? Why should they go to your event instead of another event, right? Why you? And so being the authority, being the icon in your industry, having that celebrity brand, having those accomplishments is what can sometimes separate you from everybody else and can help you stand out and answer that all important question. So today, that's what I'm going to be talking about in the sense of online. How do you be an online influencer? And the reason why I chose the topic online influencer, and this is somewhat of a new presentation I've just started perfecting and rolling out, is because nowadays, everything is online. Like we used to say, everything's online, but now literally everything is online. So, it used to feel like everything was online, and a lot of things were online in terms of social media and websites and, all that kind of good stuff, webinars. But you had the option and the ability to kind of balance it out with, live events, face-to-face meetings, face-to-face masterminds and trips, face-to-face strategy sessions, with clients. Now that's very limited, if at all, and most people aren't doing anything at all. And so, as a student of marketing, as a student of business and entrepreneurialism and publicity and publishing and presentation, I'm always looking around and observing what's working, what's not working, what's working in my own business, what's not working in my own business, what's working in my client's business. And there are definitely times where we pivot and shift. I'm sure you've been hearing that a lot lately. But there are some things that are working really well in terms of being online, and there are things that aren't. Okay. So this very simple answers is, you got to be on social media. Well, what social media? You got to be on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn if you do this or that. Okay. So I'm on now what? Right. And so it's not as simple as just being on these things. Well, you got to have a website. No, some people say you don't have to have a website. Well, do I have a website? Do I not have a website? Well, what kind of website? These are kind of tough things, and they take time and they take money and they take resources. So, what are the best platforms? What are the best sites? Should everything be an app now? These are some of the questions that people are running up against and that I'm hearing, and I want to answer for you today. I'm going to kind of go through some of these. I had people give me their Q&A at a recent event of mine, knowing that I would be a part of this. I said to them, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What's holding you back? I sent out surveys, and I want to share with you some of those survey results of what's really working for people, what people like the most, how people are making decisions nowadays, how people are purchasing things online, and how things have changed, and in some cases, how things haven't changed. Okay. But it's all about being that online influencer. Now, let me say this into a slightly different way. It used to be, and for myself including, if I was going to sell something in the tens of thousands of dollars, okay, some kind of ticket, some kind of bigger ticket item, a service, a package, a program, and it was going to be thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, that was more difficult to do online as compared to on stage, live, in person with that audience right there in front of me. So as things shifted and businesses still wanted to make those types of deals, they still wanted to enroll people in the bigger ticket items, things had to be done a little bit differently. But whereas people in the past would have maybe waited until they met you, or they wanted to, see you live, or, hey, I'm going to get the best deal hearing David Fagan, speak at Infusionsoft's next big conference, or, at GKIC's next big conference, or whatever. Now that doesn't exist. So how is that being done online now, right? How are we inspiring action in every audience now that we are online almost entirely all the time, and there not being an option? So that's what I'm going to share with you today. And I know that's kind of a long setup, but I think it's important you have that context and really understand what the challenge is and what the problem is. And this is something good for you to write down. People will never care about the answer. They will never care about the solution until they first care about the problem or the challenge. And the more they care about the problem and challenge, the more they believe that that problem and challenge exists, the more they care about the solution that they're hearing and the solution that they're getting. Okay. So if it's a little problem and there's a little solution, we care a little bit, right? If there's a big problem and there's a potentially big solution out there, we care in a big way. Okay. So it's important for you to understand that this is a big problem for a lot of people, for a lot of you who maybe were just getting started, or for a lot of you who typically made money through live events. Now there's a big time shift and a big time pivot. And that's going to happen through you being not just influential, but an online influencer. Okay. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today, because there is some confusion with websites. And in just a second, I'm going to take you through the top websites, the top 8 websites that every speaker, author, or expert should strongly consider having. Now, Rome wasn't built in a day, so maybe you have 1 or 2 of these to start off with. Maybe you have 4 or 5 after years. And by the way, you don't have to have every single one of these 8 websites, but I'm just saying these are the 8 best websites. Okay. And the problem with a lot of people out there is they're trying to put everything on one website, so that when somebody shows up at a website, they're bombarded with all these thoughts and ideas and requests and offers, and it's confusing. And we as the individual don't really know what we want to do. We don't really know what the people expect of us. So there are some mistakes that can be solved. I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to share with you these 8 websites. I'm going to share with you in order of importance. I'm going to share with you, what you need to do and how you need to use them, and really, what isn't as big of a deal and what is more important. Okay. Because people are kind of getting caught up in the thick of thin things. Okay. And everything out there in business. We don't want to get caught up in the thick of thin things. That means, getting really crazy obsessed about something that really doesn't matter as much as something else matters. Okay. But before we even talk about websites, I feel like I have to address this. This is some interesting feedback I got. People said to me, David, I've been told that websites are old. It's an old way of doing business. We don't really need websites anymore. Websites aren't really important. Everything's going in a different direction, So let me add a little bit of context to this, because there is some truth to this, but not a ton of truth to this. It's not more true than untrue. Okay. The reason why people say this is because we're using our mobile devices a ton now. And so what's most important that people understand is that your website needs to be mobile friendly, mobile effective, mobile interactive. Okay. It needs to look good on a mobile device. And in that sense, yes, old websites that don't work on mobile devices, old websites that are not effective on mobile platforms, yes, those are not working. That is not going to be something that is going to be sustainable, and you're going to want to get away from that. But does that mean that you don't need a website anymore, or the websites aren't helpful, or the websites aren't doing anything good for you? Absolutely not. So just understand that it has to do with mobile technology. Okay. And a lot of times people will talk about apps. Okay. So there's apps that are essentially really just mobile friendly websites that work really good on a phone. Or there's a true app that you buy in an app store. Okay. There's pros and cons to both of those things. And you don't really need to know a lot of that right now. But just know that to be an online influencer, you got to be online in the right ways with the right websites created on the right platforms so that people can have the right experience, the best experience, because we really truly live in an experience economy. Okay, so you can ask yourself, when someone reads your book, what kind of experience are they having, right? When they hear your presentation, what kind of experience are they having? When they go to your website, what kind of experience are they having? If and when you do meet them face to face, what kind of experience are you having? When they come to your office, you got an office, what kind of experience are they having? We got to think about the experience. We're very much in an experience economy. We want people to have a positive experience. We want them to have a profitable experience, a magical experience. We want them to have a high perception of value experience. Okay.
For complimentary resources from my book, my complimentary e-course, The Power of the Question, or recommended reads, go to www.thequestion.com/resources. For more information on my coaching or mentoring, go to www.bernardo-moya.com.
So I want you to think a little bit, about, what kind of experience are you creating online? What kind of experience does your Facebook Live videos create? What kind of experience does your shows create through maybe even a platform like this, StreamYard? Okay. What is the experience when somebody goes to your website online? Is it easy for them? Is it effective for them? Is it simple? Is it clear? Right? Confusion is our enemy. Right? Dan Kennedy, another one of my mentors, says a confused buyer is not a buyer. Right? So how do we make things simple and clear? If you really want to show that you're an expert, you need to make complex things simple. Okay. How do you make complex things simple? Visual aids, memes, quadrants, Venn diagrams, infographics, checklists. These are ways to make complex things simple. Okay. So, having the ability to make complex things simple is important for your websites, for your social medias, for your presentations, for all of that. So how are you doing that? How are you creating the experience? How are you creating it online? Right now, I'm just kind of giving you that 30,000 foot overview to get your wheels turning so that you understand this is a big problem that you need a big solution for so that you can move forward in the marketplace. Okay. So, Matt, I'm gonna change this up just a little bit. Can you pull up the feelings felt image? Matt's helping me out here today. We're not really doing a PowerPoint. I've just got a few key images that I want to share with you guys. One of them is called the feelings felt. These are the feelings that need to be felt in order for people to move forward with you. Thank you, Matt. So this is what it's all about. We do speaker trainings for presentations. I wrote a book called Word Genius, What to Say and How to Say It. It's all about the words. The words are designed to create feelings. The feelings create experiences. Here's 7 of the top feelings that need to be felt in order for people to move forward. Does your presentation create these feelings? Does your conversations create these feelings? Does your shows create these feelings? Does your website create these feelings? Number 1, do people see you as the authority? Are there testimonials? Are there endorsements? Right? Are you a best-selling author? Do you serve on the board of certain things? Do you have certain customized education degrees? Do you have before and after? Like maybe you're a health expert and, here's somebody that's a little bit heavier and, they look, low energy and not very happy. And then here's someone that's a little bit lighter and toner and thinner and smiling and, do you have the ability to show that before and after? Maybe you build websites. Here's a broken down, busted up, outdated website. And then right next to it, here's the new website. Maybe you're in real estate. Here's a broken down, busted up, house. Here's how we fixed it up. And, here's the curb appeal. Here's the new paint. Here's the new landscaping, right? Maybe it's a financial. Here's last year's financial. Here's this year's financial. But there are things like the before and afters. There's things like the testimonials, the celebrity endorsements, the awards you've won. There's things like that you can show in a professional way that show you are the authority. You wrote a book on it. You've published a paper on it, right? Number two, they love you, right? What do you do to be likable and lovable, right? I'm not saying that, you just want to be a people pleaser, but you got to connect. You got to be down to earth. You've got to be, you got to put yourself out there in a way that comes across that, people are going to like you. And I used to say like you, but now I say love you. Like how do you get people to fall in love with you? If you look at some of the best influencers in the marketplace, the people that like them love them, right? There really isn't very much, in between. Sometimes people can even be polarizing. And that's okay. It's okay if some people are at the opposite end of the spectrum with some negative feelings, as long as that there's some other really good people who are just falling in love with them. 3, you have solutions to their problems. 4, your solutions are duplicatable. Do they feel like they can do what you do? Yes, we've represented some celebrity clients. I don't talk too much about them. Because what I have found is that if I talk too much about my celebrity clients, the voice inside somebody's head is basically, well, you're not them. You're not an Emmy award winning whatever. You're not a Grammy winning whatever. You're not an Oscar winning whatever. You're not them, right? You're not super successful. Maybe you're successful. So, I try to be careful about the solutions I show, and I try to pick people that are good examples where I feel like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it, right? Your products and services have a perception of value. What's the value of your program? What's the value of your course? What's the value of your product, your service, right? You have to create a high perception of value. If I had a program called How to Make a Post on Facebook, well, that doesn't seem very valuable. I mean, I make posts on Facebook and I make lots of posts on Facebook. That doesn't make sense. Why would I pay money to learn how to make a post on Facebook? Now, if you said how to make a post on Facebook that gets you, 1,000 comments and 10,000 shares and turns into a couple $1,000s overnight, okay, now I'd be interested. Okay, that sounds interesting. There's a perception of value to that. My company, Icon Builder Media, we help you become an icon in your industry. How much money would you pay to become an icon in your industry? One of the things that we do is we help book people on stages, even digital stages. We help book people in the media and get them interviews. How much money would you pay to be on the Today Show like I have been before? How much money would you pay to be on Fox and Friends like I have before? How much would you pay to be a bestseller like a lot of my clients have been? Not just, Amazon Kindle, one random category, but 10 number ones, on Amazon and Kindle in categories that are actually going to matter for you. Number 6, is there a sense of urgency? I don't always do this one very well, but, what's the sense of urgency? Why do they need to do it now, right? Why do they need to do it now? That's a great feeling to help somebody feel, to help them move forward. And then does it make sense? Does it click? What are you doing so that your offer makes sense? Think about that. We do a lot of presentation training. We do a lot of, helping you with your blueprint on all your slides and things like that. We've done that for over a decade. I've done it for people wildly successful. John Assaraf is one of them. Harry Dent, the economist, is another one of them. These people, whatever you're doing with your slides, whatever you're doing with your talking time, what I'm doing, if I am critiquing that and listening to that, is I'm sitting there and going, okay, what feeling on this list does that slide help me feel? On your website, what feelings are you helping me feel? Right? On your Facebook Live, what feelings are you helping me feel? Words are important, but the words are designed to create feelings. An online influencer knows how to get onto these platforms and create an experience creating these feelings. They don't sit there and go, well, I'm showing this slide to show this slide, or I'm showing this website to show this website, or I'm talking about this topic for the sake of talking about this topic. But they really know that there's a presentation under the presentation, And that presentation under the presentation is really helping them feel the feelings they need to feel in order to move forward. If people don't move forward with you, I can basically break it down to these feelings. David, nobody's buying from me. Well, yeah, they don't feel like you're the authority. Hey, David, nobody, I can't enroll anybody. Well, yeah, they don't really feel like your solution has a high perception of value. Hey, David, I've showed them all those things. They're still not moving forward with me. Well, they probably will someday, but you didn't do anything to create a sense of urgency. Okay. This is how I would coach people and consult people, on their marketing, and on their enrolling, on their online presence. If you want that celebrity branded online presence, you want that authority marketing style online, you're really creating these feelings. Okay. Look at your website. How many of these can you check off? Look at your last Facebook video. How many of these can you check off? Right? Think about the last time you spoke or presentation. That presentation, how many of these could you check off? How many of these could you say you really helped them feel that? Okay. So think about that. As promised, I'm going to go into some specific websites. And Matt, you can go ahead and pull that up now, the 8 websites that, are the most valuable websites. But I wanted to talk about feelings felt first, because when I show you this next image here on the websites, these 8 websites, the thing that all of them are going to have in common is still creating the feelings that need to be felt. Okay. Each one of these sites still need to do that. It can be about that topic, or can it be about that area of your business? It could be about that objective, but it still has to create those feelings. So, that image that's the world of websites will have 8 different sites on there. And we're going to pull that image up here, the world of websites. Here it is, the world of websites. Here we go. So, it's okay if you can't see this image. And I'll even give you a way that I can send you these images. Okay. So I'll put that in here in a little bit here. But I'm going to give you an email. And if you email me, I'll just send you these images. Okay. It's not an opt-in or anything like that. It's just going to be sending you some of these images. It's the world of websites. Now, this is world of websites for speakers, but world of website for authors, world of website for influencers, world of website for experts, world of website for leaders, for trainers. It could be any one of those things. We work with a lot of speakers, authors, and experts. And so we title it this way, but don't let that throw you off. Okay. What you have to know about this is for people that are in the advice business. So let me ask you this. Do you make money off your advice and expertise? Do you make money off the advice you give? An attorney makes money off the advice he gives. A doctor makes money off the advice he gives. A chiropractor makes money off the advice he gives, right? A health trainer, a fitness guru, they make money off the advice they give. A real estate agent, insurance agent, a CPA, they make money off the advice they give. Okay, these people are all in the advice business. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant, you make money off the advice you give. And if you make money off the advice you give, you're really selling yourself more than you're selling anything else. And the first website that we tell people they should have is what we call an icon site. It's really all about you. It's a slice of your life, a little bit of your personal life, a little bit of your business life, right? And it lets people know why you. What's so great about you? What's unique about you? What's special about you? What is your advice about? What are you all about? What do you stand for? Okay. The second site is what we call a super sign up page. Okay. Now this isn't just like a standard squeeze page or landing page, or, it's not one of these just, like a one page, with an ethical bribe. You give me this, I'll give you this. Right? You give me your email and that's it. Just give me your email and I'm going to give you a newsletter. A super sign-up page is I want your first name, I want your last name, I want your address, I want your phone number, I want all this information. I want you to check some other boxes too, like what are you most interested in? What do you consider yourself? A speaker, author, expert? Are you in health and wellness, real estate, financial? Like it's a little bit of a questionnaire. You're asking them for a lot, and then you're giving them a lot. So like one of the things that you could do is you could go to Icon Free Gifts. I'm going to type this in here too, iconfreegifts.com. And you can see an example of a super sign up page, right? Now, I don't get a ton of signups on there, but what do I know about the person who signs up? What do I know? What do I know about the person who gives me tons of information? They're serious, right? I don't want 10,000 just emails. Now, I know that the traditional internet marketing approach is, well, you get the email and then you kind of get their name and then you give them more and then you baby step them and baby step them and baby step them. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but I'm more looking for quality people, right? I'm not looking for quantity. I want to offer a lot and I want to give a lot and I want to get a lot. And that's what a super sign up page is. If you want to see an example, you can go to iconfreegifts.com, iconfreegifts.com. The third one is really a company site, and I know that sometimes people make their personal site and their company site and their super sign up page. It's kind of all one thing. What I'm telling you, as time goes on, those should be separate sites. You should have a personal site that's your icon site. You should have a super sign up page. You should have a company site. It's just about your company. I mean, you're going to be on there because you're a part of your company, but it's really going to be more about what the company believes in and what the company does. The fourth one is a book site. You got a site for your book. You're standing on stage or you're doing a presentation like this. Hey, go to my book site, right? And I could punch that in. There's an event site, number 5, a sales site, a sales page. That's just to sell maybe a product or service, right? 7, maybe a site for media. I do a lot of media. There's certain things that the media wants to see. 8 is maybe a membership site that has a login, has a portal to get to the back end. But just try to think, if you tried to have a personal site, an event site, and a book site, and a sales page, and just think if you tried to put everything on one site or even 2 sites, how effective would that be? Not very effective, right? You're not being very influential online. If you want to be an online influencer, eventually this is the kind of stuff you want to build up. For example, we have a magazine, right? TopTalentMag.com. That's a magazine site. It's just about the magazine. Are there links on other sites that go to that magazine? Sure there are. We have an event. I'm going to invite you guys all to my Top Talent Jv Mastermind event. You can get in for free by using Bernardo's name. You can go there, you can sign up. We usually have about 400 or 500 people register. We usually have a couple hundred people on there. That's toptalentjv.com. And of course, they just put the information across the bottom of the screen here as well. It's great. Just put in Bernardo's name. Because it's going to say invited by. This is good people bringing good people. It's free, but you have to know somebody to get in. Okay. But that toptalentjv.com, that's an event website. Imagine if I put my event site on my personal site and my free gifts, and now you're trying to go there and you're trying to engage and, well, geez, I want to get David's slides, but man, I'm hearing about his event, but he said he had a book on here somewhere and now I'm scrolling. What kind of experience is that? Okay. It's not a very good experience. And this is going to be one of the most important things you're going to hear on this presentation. Okay. So listen to this part closely. Your websites aren't really websites in as much as they should be an enrollment tool. If you're old school, we'll say sales tool, okay? If you're in the new world, the more sophisticated way, the warm, fuzzy way is enrollment. We're enrolling people, not selling people. But your websites should really be an enrollment tool or a sales tool, meaning that you're going to have Zoom call conversations. You're going to have discovery call conversations. And you're going to take them to a site. And that site is going to show some of your testimonials. That site is going to show some of the things you've accomplished. That site is going to show you maybe your portfolio, maybe your before and after, maybe your degrees, okay? PowerPoint slides and slide decks kind of make people feel like, whoa, someone's about to sell me something. It can feel that way sometimes, and that's okay. But your websites, if you use your websites right, if you set up your website the right way, if you set up a web page the right way, it can become a very powerful enrollment tool because it's very relaxed, it's very casual, and most importantly, you can help them feel all the feelings that need to be felt in order for them to move forward. How about that? That little bit of an alliteration for you there, right? Word Genius, What to Say and How to Say It. That was my book. Kevin Harrington wrote the foreword for that most recent book. Kevin Harrington, one of the original sharks from Shark Tank, I thought it was pretty cool. He said he wished that every person who had ever appeared to him before in Shark Tank would have first read my book, Word Genius, What to Say and How to Say It. It's the ultimate branding Bible, advertising encyclopedia, and all this other good stuff here. I'll hold this up and see if I can do this. But world of websites, guys. You need to have a different website for a different purpose. I know this takes time. I know this takes money. I know Rome wasn't built in a day. In the beginning, you can kind of cram maybe 1 and 2 together, maybe even 1, 2, and 3 together. You can do that. But as time goes on, you should have a site just for your book. If you're speaking right now, you want to talk about your book. As a matter of fact, I'll show you how to get a kind of free content from my book by going to wordgeniusbook.com. I just put that website up, wordgeniusbook.com. If you go to wordgeniusbook.com, you can see my book site. You can get a ton of information from my book. I'll even get you a free copy of the ebook, get you a free ebook on there, right? But think about what I'm doing right now. Am I practicing what I'm preaching? Do you see how much easier this is? I've got websites for this. I've got web pages. I've got sales tools. I've got visual aids. I'm making complex things simple. If I just told you 8 websites, it would probably be a little more difficult. If I create a visual aid, right? I create a checklist, right? That will help you make complex things simple, which is what really makes you an expert. I've done a lot of media. People in the media, they want you to make complex things simple. They don't have you on there to overwhelm people with a bunch of industry jargon. They want you on there so that you can be the expert that helps people see these things. Okay. You help people see these things. So, thank you for putting some of that stuff along the bottom there. I put some of the things in private chat, so you may not be seeing some of that. That's smart. Matt, you're smart. You're smart. Whole team's smart. But guys, these visual aids are things that will help you. And these visual aids are things that go on your website. You create a good visual aid. Guess what it is? It's a post in social media. You create a good visual aid. Guess what it is? It's a slide in your presentation. You create a good visual aid. It is on your website, right? You create a good visual aid. It becomes an article. You write an article about the visual aid. You just explain the visual aid, right? And then, that article can become a chapter in your book, right? So I want you kind of thinking about that. As a matter of fact, let's do another visual aid really quickly here. Can you pull up the Power Plays image, Matt? Power Plays image. It's a pie chart, right? Another type of visual aid. And, we're talking about being an online influencer. I'm going to teach you another component to being an online influencer, and it's a little bit more of the mindset. So there's a slide here that's called Power Plays. It's okay if you can't see it that well. Here's what you need to know. This is the best way to spend your time and to think about your time. And I always kind of push the limits with some of my professional peers. They don't always like this because I'm going to tell you that long-term goals are probably not the most important thing for you, okay? If you have a 7-figure business, 8-figure business, if you're getting up there to that, probably more important for you to think 3 to 5 years out. Even short-term goals of 1 year, I'm not as much of a believer in that as I am in power plays. Okay. Here's a power play. A power play is something you can do in the next 3 to 6 weeks, maybe something next 4 to 8 weeks. It's going to make you money or get you results. You can write a book in 3 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks, right? You can put on an event, in 3 to 6 weeks, right? You can put on a campaign and go out and just get this one client. Like you knew if you had him as a client, other people would follow along, right? If Bernardo Moya was your client, other people would want to be your client. If Doria, Cordova was your client, if Roger Salam was your client, just fill in the blank. If Les Brown was your client, if Kevin Harrington was your client, other people want to be your client. So a power play could be just going out and getting that one client that if you're your client, other people would become your client. But power plays, to me, is the top way you want to spend your time. And online influencers, they're getting up day in and day out and saying, okay, what's the power play going to be over the next couple of weeks here? What's the result I'm offering in a short amount of time? You form the right power plays, and then you have good moment management minute to minute, moment to moment management of that power play. And guess what happens? Short term, you're going to be where you want to be a year down the road. Long term, you're going to be where you want to be down the road. But when you are thinking too long term, 1, 3, 5 years down, what happens is there's a little bit of procrastination. There's a little bit of, well, let me think about this more. It's such an important goal. It's so long term. Time is lost. When you force yourself into short bursts of time to do something big and magical, it's kind of the whole thing, shoot for the stars, maybe you land on the moon, right? It's that whole big, hairy, audacious goal, type concept we read about in books. Okay. So, think about that. What can you do in a short amount of time that would be a game changer and difference maker in your business? Maybe it's just getting that better website. Maybe it's building that better presentation, right? Maybe it's, booking this, a certain speaking gig. Maybe it's getting, a celebrity endorsement, right? What's going to be the difference maker? What's going to be the game changer? And you can do multiple power plays at once. Now, you don't want to do so many power plays at once that none of them get done. But, 1, 2, 3, if you're trying to attempt more than 2 or 3 power plays, either A, the power plays you're doing aren't big enough, if you can actually do more than that, or B, you are not understanding the amount of time you have, and you're most likely going to mess up, all of them and do none of them well. But think about that. How do I become a power player? How do I pick the right power play? What's my next power play? When I coach people and work with people, this is kind of the way we talk. Hey guys, what's the low hanging fruit? What's the next power play? Maybe you need to hire someone. Maybe that's the next power play, right? Maybe you need to move the office. Maybe you need to create a membership. Maybe you need to create a course. Maybe it's a new course. Maybe it's redoing an old course. All these things can be power plays that can make you money or get you results in a short amount of time. And that's the way an online influencer works. You're sitting here going, okay, I know there's feelings that I need to help them feel in order for them to move forward. And I'm going to design a power play that is going to evoke those feelings. And I'm going to get online and I'm going to create the right kind of visual aids and the right kind of social media using the right kind of websites so that I can help them feel those feelings that they need to move forward while I'm executing my power plays so that I can make the money and get the results I need. The people that are doing these things are the people that are really being the most effective. Okay. Now let me show you another image here, another visual aid, making complex things simple. Let me show you the pipeline. I'm going to show you something called the pipeline.
For more information on collaborating, partnering, sponsoring, supporting, or speaking at any of our events or finding out more about our legacy clubs, go to www.thebestyou.co. If you're interested in finding out more about the amazing content we have, please go to www.thebestyou.online and get your 14-day free trial now.
So I want to make sure that you understand how being an online influencer works when it comes to having a pipeline, using a pipeline, okay? So at the top, you'll see that this pipeline is broken into 3 sections: marketing, sales, and service. You could also say marketing, enrolling, and service, right? So this is the business beyond the presentation, okay? This is beyond, this is more of the business, okay? The advice business. This is for enrolling big ticket products and services. Now, you might say, David, why do you break this down? Why do you break it down into 3 departments? Why do you break it down into, 6 or 7 different pieces, components? Because by doing this, we now know, or we now have the ability to know what might be breaking down. For example, if your car runs out of gas, you don't change the tire. Okay, I hope not. All right, if you get a flat tire, you don't try to put more gas in the tank. At least I hope not, right? Because that's not what's broken. But a lot of times with people's businesses, they try to fix things that aren't broken. So what they're doing is they're just spending tons of money. They're wasting tons of money because they don't really know what's broken. So by me breaking these things down, it really helps people understand all the different things that should be happening in their business. And then they can analyze each area, they can analyze each part and really see where things are at. Now, by the way, you might be a solopreneur and you might be the marketing department, the sales department, and the service department. That's not uncommon. That's not impossible, right? It happens, right? But marketing in the beginning is the is the prospects, and maybe even getting a little bit into the suspects. The sales is the discovery calls, the custom proposals, getting the commit and collecting the money, and then the service is really fulfilling. Okay. So let's go through this really quickly here. The prospects is really more of the people as anybody that could have even the smallest remote possibility of being a lead for you, right? That they could become a client someday, right? Everybody that becomes your friend on Facebook, everyone that connects with you on LinkedIn, everyone that opts into one of your websites, right? These are some generic prospects. These are some generic leads that are a prospect. Next step up from that is a suspect. Okay. Now, a suspect is somebody who says something that might just make them guilty of being your client someday. So we do a lot of publishing, publicity, and presentations. Okay. Icon Builder Media, Talent Support Services. We do a lot of publishing of books and courses, publicity, booking people to speak at events or in the media to do interviews, or presentations, helping people with their slide deck or with their PowerPoint presentation so they can create all the feelings that need to be felt to help people move forward. That's what we do, right? So a suspect for me is I hear somebody saying, yeah, I've always dreamed of writing a book. Oh, wow, that's very suspect. That sounds like somebody who would be my client. Or somebody that says, yeah, I just finished writing my book. I got to get it done. I need a book cover. I need to make it a bestseller. Wow, okay, that's very suspect. That sounds like somebody who'd be guilty of being my client. Hey, I just gave my presentation, didn't go as well as I wanted it to. Maybe I need to redo it. Maybe I need to. Okay, that sounds very suspect if someone needs to be my client. Hey, guys, on Facebook, I'm looking for more stages. Oh, they're asking for more places to speak. That sounds very suspect. Okay, so what are the things that people say that might make them suspect of being your client? Okay, what are your ways of hearing that and capturing that and reaching out to those people? When you do that, you want to get them into a discovery call. Now, if you're selling something for hundreds of dollars or less, that's probably not the best use of your time. But if you're selling something for thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, to have them go through this funnel of prospects and then suspects and discovery call, that's important. On a discovery call, you're doing some kind of high trust interview. I don't have a lot of time to get into that now. You're doing a lot of questions. You're kind of interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you, right? You should be sophisticated and successful enough that you're not taking anybody and everybody that can fog a mirror. Okay. That means that they have to show signs of life, but you're kind of looking at what might be a good client for you as well. So they're interviewing you, you're interviewing them, and you're seeing if there's a basis for doing business together. You might even want to ask that question. Is there a basis for doing business together? We're on a Zoom call. We're talking just like this. I'm an online influencer, right? I'm showing them things. I'm showing them websites. I'm showing them visual aids. I'm showing them testimonials, right? That's where my websites become my sales tools, is when I'm on this discovery call. I'm not waiting for people. I'm not doing SEO, pay-per-click. I'm not waiting on any of that, right? I'm just popping them up on a website. Oh, you're asking about my book. Let me pop you up on my book website. Oh, you're asking about me. Let me pop you up on my personal website. Hey, let me just show this to you, right? While I'm on that discovery call, I am using my websites and my visual aids to help them feel those feelings that need to be felt in order to move forward, right? That's what I'm doing on that discovery call. That's what it means to be an online influencer. It's much more powerful than just doing a phone call. It's much more powerful than just doing an email. The right discovery call is a video conference. It is a Zoom. It is a video chat. It is a Skype, and it is you sharing a screen, getting them in front of a website and showing them something. That is the show and tell. Your sales will go up. Your enrollment will go up if you have something to show them. If you can show them testimonials, if you can show them, before and after pictures, if you can show them your portfolio, if you can show them what you can create and the results that you can achieve for individuals. Okay. Now, if that goes well, I'll offer to do a custom proposal. A lot of people want something custom. Nothing wrong with that, especially if they're spending thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. So I write up a custom proposal based on what they say. There's an art to this. I have another presentation where we can just teach you about, how to write custom proposals. We write 6-figure custom proposals, 5-figure custom proposals. There's an art to how you write those proposals, okay, so that people will move forward. Those proposals are going to include some online links where people can go and see some things, right? Seeing is believing. Not always, but the odds are seeing is believing. We want to play the odds. So we're going to write up a proposal. I'm going to make sure they say, yes, they want a proposal. If they won't even say, yes, they want a proposal, I'm not going to take the time to write a proposal. We're going to do that proposal. They're going to review that proposal. And eventually I'm going to get them on the phone, or we're going to talk. We're going to go over it. It's all going to work towards them committing. Yes, David, I want to move forward. Great. We're not done yet. We got to collect. There's a lot of people out there that say, oh yeah, I just enrolled somebody new. Oh, really? Did they pay? No. Okay. Well, you didn't enroll anybody yet, right? So collecting is more important than everything else. I mean, everything is important, but if you don't collect, then, it doesn't really matter. And of course, after you collect, now you fulfill. I could go a lot into each and one of these areas. I don't have the time to do that. I'm not going to do that. But just know that these are things that you should be thinking about as somebody in the advice business, right? And here's the really cool thing. Now let's say the business is breaking down a little bit. Okay. Remember we talked about the car breaking down, like gets a flat tire, you put gas in it, or it runs out of gas, and you're trying to fix the tire, right? You're fixing the wrong thing. Well, now if you kind of run your business with this pipeline, now you have a way to see what's really happening. Sometimes people come to me and say, David, I need more leads. Well, how many leads do you have? Well, I'm getting 100 leads a week. Well, you probably don't necessarily need more leads. Maybe you need better quality leads. Let's go on to the next thing. How many of those leads do you think are suspects out of that 100? 1. Okay, well then, yeah, maybe you do need better leads. Or let's say they're getting 100 leads a week, and let's say, 10, 15 of them are suspects. Well, that's good. That's great. You got a database, you got a following, 10, 15, are suspects. Okay, great. Well, how many can you get on a discovery call? Only 1. Okay, well, why are you getting so few people? Why? You got to have a better perception of value to get people on that call so they want to talk to you. Let's say the prospects are good and the suspects are good and the calls are good, but nobody's asking for a proposal. Well, then you're not doing a very good high trust interview. You're not asking the right questions. Let's say a lot of people are asking for a proposal, but no one's committing. Well, maybe the price is too high. Maybe you can't show the value. Maybe you didn't ask the right questions in the discovery call, and so on and so forth. But once you know where the numbers start to skew at, you can work on that area. It is a funnel though. So lots of prospects, a little less suspects, a little less discovery calls, a little less proposals, a little less commit, a little less collection, right? It's a smaller. We want to make it as big as we can at the top, and it gets smaller as we go down. If it starts out really small at the top and just kind of cuts off at the top, then we know that that's where you're breaking down at. But this is how I'm helping people kind of coach them in business and give them the right information, because they're not sure the right questions to ask. They're not sure the right tools to have. They're not sure the right words to say. They need a little word genius, what to say and how to say it. They're not sure, they don't have the right online tools. If you're going to be an online influencer, you need the right online tools. That's going to be visual aid. That's going to be web pages. That's going to be social media. That's going to be videos. It's going to be things, like that. Okay. So think about that a little bit. Where are you at right now when it comes to being an online influencer? Now, one of the things that we've done is we're big believers in you market what people want, not what they need. Okay, what does that mean? A lot of times we as individuals, we know what people need, but it's not always as sexy as it could be or should be. And we got to decide what people want, right? So when you market what people want and give them what they need, they'll be more successful. So for example, I can put on an event and I can say, well, everything I'm talking about is communication. So I can put on the communication event, right? It's a communication event. And at the event, I'm going to teach you how to communicate. And I'm going to help you communicate with all kinds of people. Well, that's not very sexy. That's not very interesting. So there's a point in time where we had like these icon building events, how do you become an icon in your industry? And those were pretty well attended. Well, then as time went on, I had these JV events, these mastermind events, 12 to 16 people. And at these events, they were invitation only. And everybody had a chance to kind of talk and kind of, tell everybody what they're doing. Well, guess what everybody wanted? Everybody wanted to be in the JV event. They didn't want to go to an event. They just felt like it was just kind of more random training. Even if the training was great, they wanted a chance to talk and joint venture and mastermind. So I kind of let in 20, 30 people, and then I let in 40, 50 people. And I realized, look, I got to market what people want, not what people, not necessarily what they need. Like they need some of these trainings that we have. So we created a JV event. And when things changed over the last couple of years, those JV events became wildly successful. And then, of course, in March of this year, we had to stop doing live events and very quickly pivot and shift to online. And what happened in April, and then again in May, and then again in July, the last 3 events, is these events basically tripled in size because we gave people what they want. It's called the Top Talent Jv Mastermind. And the way that our Top Talent JV Mastermind works is nobody speaks for more than 10 to 15 minutes. And there's a main session with speakers that are getting spotlighted and celebrated that no one person speaks more than 10 to 15 minutes. And then we go into breakout mastermind tables that are online on Zoom, right? And there would be anywhere from 5 to 9 people in that group. And that 5 to 9 people in that group would all go around the group and they would take turns saying who they are and what they do. And they would offer something and ask for something. And so anyways, this worked. This worked really well. After our first event, we were having, 400 people register and a couple hundred people attend. And then pretty soon we had people, all around the world wanting to do it. And, we got different connections and joint ventures. Doria Cordova said, David, we need to take this to Asia and to Australia, New Zealand. And, so now we do events in the evening, 5 p.m. our time, that are the morning the next day for them. But the reason why the pivot and shift worked so well is 1, we took it all online. 2, we gave them what they wanted. Okay. They wanted a joint venture. They wanted a mastermind. There's lots of things like that. And then 3, we gave them the platform, the technology, and the time. Maybe that's 4 and 5 that they really needed as well. So what are you doing to make complex things simple? What are you doing to focus on what they want? Are you using the technology to do that? So we've got a bunch of T's, okay? The letter T, right? Do you have the right team? Do you and your team have the right training? Are you taking enough time to do the things that you need to do? Do you have the right tools? Okay. Those are some of these T's. And I want to focus a little bit on the tool. What are the tools? Nowadays, if you're going to be an online influencer, you need the right tool. Sometimes the right tool might be StreamYard. Sometimes the right tool might be LinkedIn. Sometimes the right tool might be a web page. Sometimes the right tool might be fill in the blank. So, you need those right tools. Okay. So I just want you guys embracing the new world, which was already online, but now is like, instead of 50% online or 40 to 60% online, it's like 99.9% online. Realize if you're in the advice business, then you are the product. You're selling yourself more than anything else. And what are the tools that are going to help you sell yourself? What are the show and tell visual aids and images that you can place on a web page, in a video, in a diagram, an infographic, on a slide deck, a post on social media? What are the things that you can put on there that's going to position you as the celebrity expert? They're going to position you as the authority or the icon in your industry. Be thinking about that. What's the experience I'm creating? What are the words I'm using to create that experience? What's the technology I'm using to create that experience? Am I confusing people or am I creating clarity? right? Am I making complex things simple, or am I making complex things complex? I was just telling you guys about my Top Talent JV event, toptalentjv.com. You can come for free as a guest of Bernardo. You can go to toptalentjv.com. My next event is August 31st through September 2nd. It's 3 half days. It's 8 a.m. Pacific to 1 p.m. Okay, 1 p.m. In the afternoon. So it's only 5 hours. It's 3 half days. Bernardo's been there before many times. He's one of the people that helps run our groups, and we'd love to have you next time. It's a free invitation to you. When you sign up, just make sure you use Bernardo's name. Thank you, Bernardo, for the time. Oh, I'm not hearing you. Maybe everybody else is hearing you, but for some reason I didn't hear you.
No, no one was hearing me. No one was hearing me. I was talking to myself. David, thank you so much. Right on the minute. Great talk. Lots of information. Guys, follow David. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you, everyone. And we'll be back in a minute. We'll be back in a minute with Doug Vermeeren. Thank you so much.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.